Hello, 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 and welcome to what I'm pretty sure is actually the 47th episode of the Collective Spotlight, which means we're 48, 49, 50, 3 issues or episodes away from episode 50, which we should have some cool things up our sleeve for that. But
so says Dan.
Yeah. I mean, we've had people pitch us ideas like maybe we be interviewed, but I think I want to try to get a really big
creator interview us.
Yeah. We'll make somebody who's like published and in Diamond ask us questions.
That math would work out.
But what we're planning on doing is trying to get maybe one really cool guest, maybe 2 or 3 cool guests, maybe even a publisher to come in here and talk. Kevin, who is my guest today, is kind of all of those things because as we bring him on, who he's already backstage, he not only has a comic book out through Behemoth, but it is actually the first in a new, all right, let's bring Kevin and he can explain it a little better, but it's kind of like a subgenre.
Yo, dude! How you doing?
Kevin? How are you, dude? Can you hear me, Kevin?
Yep. I don't even...
Are you on your phone? Can you hear me, Mr. Kevin? Oh, I think he dropped out. So, Kevin is writing the book Freak Snow Night, but what's really cool about it is, Freak Snow.
That you just made 2 books in one book
did.
there.
What's really cool about it
see that.
is it's the first in the what's Scoot called within Scout? It's a imprint. So Happy Tank is the new imprint that Behemoth has, and I can hopefully grab Kevin in here so he can explain everything to you guys.
Yo!
What's up, Mr. Kevin?
Yeah, it's working. Take 2. Awesome. Yeah, I got no power right now. We had like a really big storm. Probably the biggest I've ever seen in Quebec. We're at a place where we get storms, so everyone was going crazy. There was like a bus that just like did like 3 backflips at the corner of my street, and a couple of trees were down. So we are talking about post-music comic in a post-music world right now, so it's super meta, and I love it. so what's up, dude?
Kevin, you're living in post-apocalyptic Montreal right now.
Yeah,
writing a post-apocalyptic comic book. So while you're here, before I go into Happy Tank, talk to people about what Freak Snow Revenge is a Drug is about. Technically, now is this a follow-up or a prequel to the trade that you did before?
It's a follow-up, but both are standalone. It's 2 different main characters, and there is like one character that is part of both stories, but you can read one and read the other one. It won't change your experience, but of course, if you did read the first one, you will appreciate when you will see this character coming in. But you don't need to have read the first one to enjoy this one. It's meant to be a standalone, and you can enjoy both stories without having to read the other one. But in this one, we follow the story of Barney, a psychedelic addict that do a lot of drugs in a post-apocalyptic world. So it's you need to be really insane to say, I'm going to be high all day in a world where you can die at every second. And that's what this dude does. And is when he is high, you see 2 imaginary friends that are a broken can of beer and an old robot toy from the 90s or 80s or something like that. And it's super weird. If you love weird post-apocalyptic adventure, you're going to love this book. And we did go really crazy on the art style. I think that nothing looks like this book. So it's exciting to release it because I think we're, there you go. It's super exciting to release a book like that because I feel that we did something unique in the current market. So I can't wait to see the reception tomorrow, but we're super confident because we did put a lot of passion. We love this book.
And you guys had been promoting it, both you and Nathan Yoakum over at Behemoth. But what was cool about this, and I'm pretty sure this is the first Happy Tank book, Kevin.
Yeah.
I know you guys have MFKZ coming out next month.
Yeah, it's the first one of the Happy Tank imprint, and the second one going to be MFKZ. MFKZ number 1 is out June 23, so at the end of the month, you're going to get the second Happy Tank book. And after the third one is Cinnamon number 1. And they all have this unique thing in common. They are all gonzo weird stories where you get art style that are really different from what you expect from current comic book market. So we really try to bring something unique that we don't see at other publishing houses with Happy Tank.
And I've heard, I know you are kind of the guy in charge over there at Happy Tank in a way, and I've heard Happy Tank be described kind of as if Adult Swim had comic books and things like that. How do you best describe the imprint of Happy Tank?
Yeah, there is a little bit of Adult Swim, but I would say it's kind of a misfit kind of brand where yes, we got this little element of Adult Swim. We can find another element of Suda 51, which is one of my favorite Japanese game developers, and stuff like that. Like those weird brand that you don't understand why they're commercial because they should not be. And we try to blend all this in a blender, and that's the happy thing. Just like we try to pick titles from what we love. It's all titles that we pick up because we are in love with the creators and we think that those voices need to be on the market. And because I believe that me and Rob, we had this change and they didn't give us a chance to bring our weird book to the world. So it's a chance. It's a way to
Give me 1 second just because you were lagging a little bit, so I'm going to let it get caught up.
Oh,
you're good.
No worries. I'm right now on the 4G and not my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, you're good. Everybody, so just in case everybody knows, Kevin's out in Montreal, and he just had, well, gosh, would you have a rainstorm then? Because I was going to say it was a snowstorm, but you're not quite that year.
No. It's right now it's finished. You know, it's sunny again, but but no, it was really a lot of rain. But a lot. It was like I tried to get out with my car to find a place where I could charge my phone, like a McDonald's or something. And there was like that bus that did a backflip or something.
Yeah.
A tree on the other side, and after another tree, and after too much water for cars, like there was like a pickup truck stuck in the middle of the water, and I'm like with a small eco car. So I'm like, oh, if the pickup cannot go there, I will try to turn my car into a boat. You know? So I'm back home. So no way to charge that phone. But yeah, what was the question?
so that I was telling people. So I was just letting people know that he's out of electricity. So we're working. Right. We're working in freak snow world here. But Kevin, the question I wanted to ask you is, what were your comic book influences growing up? What did you read growing up? What kind of got you into comics?
It's a lot of things, and most of them are French comics, and that's why I guess that our books feel a little different in what's in the US market. Okay. Just like all my influences are there, and one of them is actually the MFKZ. MFKZ was released in France in 2006 first. So for me, working with Ron, the creator of MFKZ, it's super freaking cool because he's one of my inspiration comic-wise. So bringing it to the States, it's kind of a child dream, you know, that I'm doing right now with that series. So it's super cool. And other gunzo like that, French or European creators like Alain Jodorowsky that did the Metaba run, which did come to the US as well. But most of them are filmmakers because I did start really late reading comics. Okay. And I started to be into comics with Watchmen, directed by Zack Snyder. When I saw the movie, I was like, oh, comic books is not just like bad guys and punching others, like poof, pow, and that's it, you know. I was like in the big cliche because when I was in high school, I was one of the hockey players chilling with the cheerleaders and stuff like that. So I was not like, comics were not cool, you know, back then. So, and at that point, when I saw that movie, I understood that, well, comics is more than just like punching the bad guys. So the same, just after watching the movie and seeing the dick of Dr. Manhattan, I said, well, after seeing this blue dick, I need to go to the comic book store. and I didn't go to the comic book store. I the graphic novel Watchmen. And after reading that graphic novel, I was like, whoa, comics book is fucking lit. So the day after, I did go buy other graphic novels. So I did go into Grant Morrison, Garth Ennis, and guys like that. And I was like, I'm an artsy guy, so I want to read the artsy comic books. And I did discover those guys, and I guess they have been some influences because they were the first one I did read. And most of them are filmmakers because I'm really into movies, and my end goal, and I will do it soon. Okay, I want to do movies, direct films, and write movies. So, and I write my comic books like movies.
Yeah.
So Gaspar Noé, Nicolas Refn, Villeneuve are all filmmakers that I'm looking to, and that I love right now in the current market. Ari Aster as well. I can continue naming names that probably half of the people not listening doesn't know because they're like European weird director, most of them. But well, I love movies, and I love when they are boring. So I love my weird artsy European movies, but and it's weird because when I read comics, I love comics that goes fast, that like you turn the pages and all the action goes super fast. So my taste is really different when it's come to comics and movies. So I try to combine those two because I don't want, like, personally, when I read comics, I don't like dialogue scene that never finish. Like for example, like two characters are just having a conversation for a 16 page. You lose me. I want to put a bullet. and so, but in movies, I love that because you know, in movies it's different. When you make conversation, the camera is always panning, going left and right, and after you can have an action, a close up on a hand doing something on the table, and there is something more dynamic. You can do it in comics, but I don't feel that even if like a really good artist that switch stuff like that while having a conversation, I don't feel that you can have like the result of a movie when there is nothing happening, but there is still something happening because the painting is moving, you know. So, but for comics, I love when it's nonstop action. So that's what we try to combine with Freaks Now, having those weird art house movies that really take time, but at the same time the high octane comic book feel that I love, you know, that I want. It's kind of, I know that you pay for the issue, but I love when an issue is finished fast, like, you know, 5-10 minutes read, you have done it's done. Like that's to me that's a good comics experience. You know, I should not be staying on a page for 15 minutes, but sometimes it's because the art is really beautiful and you want to stay there to admire it, but that's a good reason, but not because you need to read 5 times three bubbles that had too much time, you know? Because you did not follow. So
and it's funny you say that because as I go through Freak Snow, that's exactly how you wrote Freak Snow. It's a mile a minute, nonstop. You know, I love it. It's a quick read, but a lot happens in it, and I really liked what you were doing with this book. I can't wait to see MFKZ because I know that I've seen the trailer for the Netflix show, and that's gonna be crazy.
Right
now, Kevin, are you from France or are you Montreal? Are you French Canadian?
French Canadian, yeah.
Okay. So you how is the difference of, you mentioned a little bit about French comic books. Now, how different are comic books in Canada? Like is it a little bit more like your regular US comic shops, or is there a difference?
So we got all the diamond shipped to Hull comic book shop in Quebec as well. So it's the same thing. We got all the American release, but there is some Quebec French releases and European releases that are importation. You know, that they are shipped to Canada because there is we are like 10 millions French in Quebec in Canada or something like that. But in Quebec it's 8 millions French. If I'm not wrong, I'm really bad with that. Like that, so I'm probably saying shit right now. But whatever. So comic book shop has kind of the American section. There is like the French section, pretty much all of them. But there is other comic shop that are strictly for US release in English, and there is other beta shop that they call that are just French release. So we get kind of the both situation where there is some shop that mix and other that just, we just do French or we just do English, you know.
Okay, cool. Now, and I know you mentioned it a little bit. MFKZ is huge in France. It's a cult classic.
Yep.
It's everything. You kind of mentioned it was a dream come true, but how did you manage to make it all happen to get an MFKZ comic book done while also getting it done at Behemoth, a company that you're kind of working with? So how did that get done to get something that was, like you said, 2016 French television series to get it into a comic book 6 years later, you know?
It's just reaching out. It's I would love to have like a crazy story, but that's something I tell a lot to creators or anyone that want to start in business. just reach out to people. You never know what can happen, So it's the key to any success, and I think that anyone that did success, just you are a dude that reach out for opportunities. Sometimes opportunities come to you. That's true, but most of the time you need to reach out and just try. And in worst case, you will just have no reply to your email, and end of the story, you go to the next opportunity. And so MFKZ was just a case like that. I did reach out to Guillaume Saint-Gelais, which is one of the French creators at the same publishing house that I was in contact on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I want to bring MFKZ to the US. Can you put me in contact with Ron? And he did put us in contact, and after we had like a couple of months of talking, and it did happen, Nothing more than that, and that's cool, because I will not want to have like a crazy story that it run to France, take a plane, and after jump with a parachute down, and after I took a boat through Venice, and after some like Russian spy did shoot on me, and after I met Ron in a Paris restaurant, and we did exchange some nuclear code from the White House, that's not what it did happen, but I will love that's kind of cool story, even if it was really not well told,
And I can't wait. I started watching the TV show. Vince is hilarious. I really can't wait to see what you do with a comic book of that nature, especially because an animated series allows you to do a lot.
I'm going out of charge.
Oh no! All right, so I'll do one more question, and then we'll let you go. Just because the book.
I'm not sure. I got like 10 seconds.
Okay, so you put a phone number. You put a phone number in here.
Yeah, you can text it, and I will reply and send you some shit. That's a real phone.
So, guys, there is a phone number. When you pick up your copy of Freak Snow, there is a phone number. You can text it. Kevin will reply. Before his phone dies, the book is Freak Snow #1. Kevin is the writer and co-publisher over at Happy Tank. Give him a follow. I think his phone might have just died, so I will go ahead and tell him thank you for coming on. Guys, we'll have Kevin back on for MFKZ, which if some of you know what it's actually called in Netflix, I cannot probably say it on the show, but Kevin has been awesome, man. Me and Kevin have been in contact for probably about a better part of a month, because he is, again, the guy that's running the Happy Tank Imprint. Behemoth are huge friends of the store, so we will have we only have a couple copies for tomorrow, but let us know if you want it. We have tons coming from Behemoth by Friday. And Kevin, thank you so much for being on the show. His next release after this one will be MFKZ on the last Wednesday of June. We will have tons of copies of that. Cool book. Thank you again to our guest, Kevin. Hope he's doing okay over there in his neck of the woods in Montreal. I have been Danny. This is episode 47 of Collective Spotlight. The book is Freak Snow, and you come pick it up here at the Collective starting Wednesday.